What's going on, everybody? It's the Real Fisherman, and we are back. So, starting off this year right, this is something a little bit new I haven't done before, but this is a lure tier list. So, yeah, let's just get right into the video. So, starting off here with the chatterbait, I'm throwing it in A tier. It's similar to a spinnerbait. You fish it in a lot of the same situations. Good bait, great bait, especially if you put like Spunk Shad by Hog Farmer on there. I usually go with the 4.5 inch. Great bait, puts off a lot of action. The startup speed is great, especially if you use a jackhammer, although those are expensive. I think they're running like 21, 22 bucks now. Pretty crazy, but it's a great bait and it catches fish. So for that reason, I am throwing it in A tier. All right, buzzbait. I'm gonna throw it in C tier. So buzzbaits are great. They catch a lot of fish. I've caught fish on them. They're not the most versatile topwater bait. You have to fish them pretty fast. Generally, you have to throw on like a toad or something to get that weight out there, just to be able to get that castability. But that being said, there is no bite quite like a buzzbait bite. It just gets those fish riled up and they're ready to hit. So, good bait. Not as versatile as some of the baits, so I'm throwing it in C tier. All right, on to the square bill crankbait. I'm throwing it in B tier. It's a really solid bait, really good bait, especially like this red fire craw color. Super good in the early spring when it gets those fish fired up. Yeah, it's great if you're fishing shallow, mostly anywhere from like 2 to 4 feet. Depending, you get some deeper diving square bills like 6-foot divers. But these are really great around sticks and rocks. They bounce off really well. They don't get hung up super easy, and they do trigger those big reaction strikes. All right. This is going in S tier. This is just like a creature bait. I'm just going to throw all creature baits sort of into this category here. This appears to be some sort of, craw, trailer, something like that. These are really good. So you can Texas rig them. You can throw them on the back of a jig as a trailer. You can throw these even on like a Carolina rig. Super solid, super versatile, bunch of different color options, and they're pretty cheap. You probably get, 8 to 10 in a pack, depending on what you buy. So that is going in S tier. Yeah, no, I don't need to even speak anymore on that. All right, on to the OSP dice. I'm throwing it in A tier. Something about it, it just catches fish. I couldn't tell you what exactly. It's super subtle. All these appendages move. These baits float. Some of them do have the TPE, which is like floating material. They work really good. They are expensive. I think you get like 3 in a pack for like 20 bucks. Very expensive, but they do catch fish. For that reason, I am throwing them in A tier. All right, on to the drop shot. This is more of a technique. S tier, it's absolutely dominant. There's not much else to say about a drop shot. You can fish it early season, mid season, late season. It's awesome. You can fish it in weeds. You can fish it on sandy bottom, rocky bottom. You can change. You can fish a multitude of different baits, bunch of different weights. You can fish baits different ways. You can throw like a drop shot hook on, nose hook some baits, or you can get like a more flowing action if you throw on like a straight shank hook and you throw on like a fluke. Yeah, dominant technique. I absolutely love throwing a drop shot. On to the fluke. It's good situationally. I'm not a big fluke guy personally. Yeah, again, you can throw this on a drop shot. You can throw a donkey rig. You can throw them on a EWG hook. There is a lot that you can do with the fluke. It's just not my go-to bait. For that reason, I'll be throwing it in B tier. On to the topwater frog. A tier. It's a topwater bait. Setting the hook on a frog bite, nothing quite like it. Frogs, they typically are sort of stiff out of the pack. You do have to trim them down. Sometimes you have to boil them to get them to be soft. Nothing like a frog bite, but you're putting in a lot of work for a few bites a lot of times. So for that reason, I'm throwing it in A tier. Okay, on to the glide bait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a northern guy. I don't be throwing these a lot. So for that reason, I'm throwing it in D tier. I know they work. I know they catch big fish, especially down south. I know these things absolutely kill, but I feel like they're pretty situational. And for northern guys like myself, I just don't throw it that much. So I'm throwing it in D tier. All right, on to the hair jig. So I'll be throwing this in B tier. It's situationally a good bait. You have to have pretty specific gear to throw it. You're throwing this on light line, probably 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon, with like a 7'6" medium light rod, maybe even a little bit lighter than that. Pretty situational bait, but it's a great finesse technique, so I'm throwing it in B tier. Jerkbait, yeah, it's between C and B for me, but you can't deny the drawing power of a jerkbait. It just works, man, year round. You know, if it's cold weather, warm weather, the jerkbait just seems to work. So for that reason, I'm throwing it in B tier. I know a lot of people probably want an A tier or S tier for you diehard jerkbait guys. For me, it's just a lot of work, and I like fishing other power techniques more. But you can't deny the power of a jerkbait. I've already caught some good fish on it this year, so for that reason, I'm throwing it in B tier. The jig. This is S tier for me. I love throwing a jig. Again, it's a great cold water technique. It's good if you're throwing around cover. It's good if you want to work something real slow. I love fishing a jig. You can fish heavy cover jigs. You can fish more of like a swim jig style. You can throw on a multitude of different trailers. There's different wire hooks. There's finesse jigs. There's more bulky jigs. There's flipping jigs. Super versatile bait. You can fish it in all sorts of cover, all sorts of situations. That is S tier for me. All right, on to the lipless crankbait. I'm throwing it in A tier. So it's a great bait. They've been around forever. You can fish them fast. You can fish them slow. It is a great power fishing technique, and you can fish it a multitude of different ways. There's a lot of different brands out there. There's a lot of versatility in the lipless crankbait market. You have like the Bill Lewis 8 rattle trap, right? Classic. You have the Rapala Rip and Wrap. You have the Strike King Red Eye Shad, and you have all kinds of others. They just catch fish, and they are great baits. Yeah, for that reason, I am throwing it in A tier. Ned Rig. I am throwing it in A tier. Again, it's one of those finesse techniques that just catches fish. You throw it on a bed, drives bass absolutely crazy. You can even catch like bluegill on these things. Not that I'm targeting bluegill, but I would be lying if I said that I haven't caught a few on a Ned Rig. Great super finessey technique. You're not typically throwing them around cover. They get hung up. You're probably fishing them pretty light line. They're great baits. Not my favorite finesse technique, so for that reason, I'm throwing it in A tier. This is like a weedless swim bait. I don't know exactly what this one is. We'll just call it like a mid-sized swim bait. This is tough. This particular one I don't like, so I'm gonna throw it in B tier. On to the top water popper. This is S tier. I mean, what are we talking about? Who doesn't love a top water bite from a popper? Yeah, absolutely S tier. I've caught some absolute giants on a popper, and especially if you're out there early morning and you just get a violent explosion on a glassy, calm, body of water. Yeah, S tier. What are we doing here? The Senko, A tier. You could argue S tier. A lot of different ways you can fish it. Wacky rig, Texas rig. You could even throw it on a drop shot. I mean, these things, they just catch fish. Multi-species too. I've caught pike on these things. You just can't deny the power of a 5-inch Senko. All right, on to the spinnerbait. I am throwing it in B tier. They're good baits. You can catch a lot of fish on them. You can catch a lot of big fish on them. That being said, not my favorite technique to throw. I would rather throw a chatterbait. They're pretty interchangeable for the most part. That being said, some days they'll want a chatterbait, some days they'll want a spinnerbait. Really just depends on the conditions. That being said, they're fairly interchangeable, and I do like a chatterbait more. So for that reason, spinnerbait, you're going in B tier. All right, here's a topwater spook. I'm throwing it in C tier. Don't hate on me, guys. I love a topwater bite as much as anybody. But a spook, you got to work it pretty hard. I get it. There's different smaller spooks. Bigger spooks are harder to work. I would just rather be throwing a popper or a whopper plopper, to be honest with you. That being said, they are a good bait. Sometimes walking the dog is the particular action that they want, and sometimes this will be the only bait that will get a bite. That being said, I feel like that's rarely the case, and I would rather throw a popper. On to the umbrella rig. I'm throwing it in B tier. There's no denying the drawing power of a rig. Big fish will come from further. It has a bunch of drawing power, and there's some sneaky things that you can do with an A-rig to draw more bites. For example, you can have four of your baits be like a white color, and then you have a green one, and they'll bite the green one because it's different and it stands out, and maybe that's at the back. So yeah, you can't deny the power of an A-rig, but that being said, they are pretty cumbersome, and it's something that I'm typically not throwing all year round. These are great baits though. They are expensive if you break them off, and they are cumbersome for that reason. B tier. This is S tier for me. So an underspin is a great bait. It's a great alternative to throwing just a plain swim bait, especially if there's some chop on the water. And it just makes the bait stand out a little bit more. The flash that it puts off, the extra vibration that it puts off, they're still pretty subtle and low key, but just that little bit of flash and that little bit of vibration can make a world of difference depending on your situation. I love throwing an underspin, and for that reason, it is going in S tier. All right, on to a wake bait. I'm sorry. This is also going in D tier with the glide bait for me. I know they catch big fish. I'm not even sure if I've caught a fish on a wake bait, to be honest. Again, there's just other topwater baits that I would rather throw. I feel like it's just a chuck and wind type of topwater bait. And yeah, not my favorite. Whopper plopper. This is going in A tier for me. So the thing about a whopper plopper that's awesome is you don't have to have any skill whatsoever to throw one of these things. So they are awesome. They catch a bundle of fish, a boatload of fish. Yeah, there's not much you can say about a whopper plopper. They just catch fish. They are fairly expensive, but I think they're well worth their value. So that is going in A tier for me. All right, the tube. Northern guys, you know that this is S tier. All right, the death spiral that you get on these guys to trigger those big fish, to trigger those bites. Yeah, can't say enough good things about a tube. If you're not throwing a tube, what are you doing? But yeah, you can crack a tube, you can drag a tube, you can throw a light tube and just watch the death spiral, wait for that tap on your line, and then set the hook into a donkey. So tubes, awesome. Southern guys, you probably don't fish a tube as much as us northern guys up here. But that being said, you still can throw these down south, especially those double dip tubes, those tubes that you can flip with. Yeah, they are great. They are going in S tier. Spinnerbait. This is redundant. We already have one here. But yeah, that's B tier. Blade bait. This is going in A tier for me. So this is a good alternative to throw if you like throwing a lipless crankbait. If you're fishing early season, I would recommend probably starting with the blade bait. It has a little bit tighter wobble. It doesn't put off as much sound. It has some flash and vibration. So it can trigger those bites when those fish aren't quite yet ready for a lipless crankbait. So that is going in A tier for me. All right, on to the deep crank. They're great. I mean, especially early on in the season when those fish are on those secondary points before they're coming into those spawning bays. Pre and post spawn, those fish are hitting those points, and it's an easy technique. Chuck and wind, change up your cadence, but these can reach those fish, and they're just great. I mean, you can troll with them, you can just chuck them out, reel them in, and they have stood the test of time. They catch giants every year, so they are going in B tier. All right, this is S tier for me. A small swim bait or a mid-sized swim bait, they just catch fish, man. Not much to say. Little paddle tail swim bait, whether that be, your fat swimming impact Kitech, or your Megabass Spark Shad, whatever that small or mid-sized swim bait is. Find me one that doesn't catch fish. I'll wait. These things are amazing. All right, underspin. We already have one here, but yeah, S tier. I mean, what are we doing? You guys can't fully see this one. This is a double tail hula grub. They're slept on. I caught my PB smallmouth on one of these things, and this is like one of the 3 baits that my grandfather throws, and he catches hundreds of bass every year. He throws a double hula tail grub in baby bass, and he absolutely destroys them every year on this thing. So I could bump it up to S tier, but I don't throw it enough. I probably can't justify it. Definitely sleeper bait though. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be back with more. And if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And until next time, we'll see you later.